My name is Zach, and today I'm going to draw my life. I really like Sour Patch Kids, even though they're really sour and they're assholes to my mouth. And I watch Game of Thrones religiously, it's like my favorite show. And my favorite movie is The Hunger Games, so let's excuse my drawings, but there you go. And Lannister's rule. I was born in Austin, Texas, and let's pretend that's Texas, but I live in Leander, which is a little up the ways, but it's hell because it's so hot! And when I was born 7 weeks early, and that's baby me, and I had an undeveloped left lung. I was in what the doctors called critical condition, and this nurse came up to my mom and was like, yeah, you better get up there and go see your son because he's probably not going to make it. And it made my mom really pissed and upset, but I made it, that bitch. Before I was born, my parents were engaged, so I guess my dad put a ring on it because he liked it. And then they had me, but they could never really see eye to eye, so they broke up when I was 2 months old. But it worked out okay because both my parents got married, and on my dad's side I have two little sisters, Avery and Riley. And on my mom's side, I got a really cool stepdad, and I got a really cool stepsister who I made the Awkward Moments video with. Her name's Alyssa, and then there's me. I primarily live with my mom, but sometimes I go and visit my dad. When I was 8, my dad and stepmom said, hey, you have a baby sister, and I was like, kind of, what? I was like, no, I'm not the only child anymore. But Avery's really cool. She's so funny, and she's very cool, nice, intelligent, and sweet and caring, and I just couldn't ask for a better sister. Then my mom and stepdad got married on a big cruise ship, and we went to Mexico, which is really southern Texas, but oh well. And this big cruise ship had a water slide, and it was just so much fun, and they wound up really happy, so that's good. And my dad and stepmom, we traveled to Vegas, and they got married in this really cool chapel outside the city. But it was just so much fun to have, like, in the summer of my 4th grade, so we had a lot of fun, and everyone wound up happy. My grandma and grandpa, we decided to drive from Texas to Nevada, and it was so much fun because we stayed in the mountains, and we went exploring, and it was so much fun to just sit and watch movies in the car all day. And my grandma, who I love so much, we make so many funny jokes and watch Game of Thrones together, and we eat cookies together a lot, and I just love her so much, and she's done so much for me, so love you, Nana. And on my mom and stepdad's side of the family, I've never felt like an outcast there, and it's always been fun to have Christmases with them because they just live all over, and it's so fun to come together for Christmas. And one time we went skiing in Red River, New Mexico, and I fell down like 7,000 times, but I wouldn't trade that for... I've really got family that lives all over. We have a few people in New York and Texas, and which is Dallas and Houston and California, Colorado and Florida, and it's so fun to go visit everyone. And eventually my other sister Riley was born, and she makes everyone laugh. She's so energetic and fun to be around, and I just love her as much as I love it. And my stepsister and I, we made the Awkward Moments video together, and we had so much fun doing that. And I remember the first time we met, and it was just so awkward, but it was like, hey, what's up? And now we're in 6th grade. My mom and I started having some issues, and we could never really agree on anything, so I thought, hey, how fun would it be to go, live at my dad's house? Well, that didn't really work out because we started a whole court case and everything, and the judge was kind of a bitch, but, can't really do anything about that. And meanwhile, at my dad's house, things kind of just started to fall apart, which was really sad. And my stepmom had her problems, but you can't really do anything about that. We were wondering how she would do, but she's still in the family, and we still see her, and she still has her daughters, and I'm thankful for that. I love you guys. Meanwhile, back at my mom's house, I felt like I had ruined the relationship with my mom, and I thought she hated me, which wasn't the case, but I just felt that way. And by then it was the end of 8th grade, and so I just felt so stuck, but then I was like, yay, high school's starting! I felt like I was going to have so much fun, and so I signed up for some badass classes like journalism and audio-video production, which turned into broadcast. The seniors were kind of mean, but I really liked them. I took this class called AVID, where it gets you ready for college, basically, so you get ready to go to college, and it really sucked. But we had to turn in notes and do binder checks, which was just horrible. But I remember one day, this girl and I, we were done with all of our work, so we decided to lay on the floor and jam out to my phone, and specifically we just, listened to Camp Rock because Camp Rock is awesome. And we wound up dating for about 7 months, which is really eternity in high school, and it was really fun, and I fell in love with her family, and it was pretty much like my home away from home. I was over there 2 to 3 times a week, and we were always hanging out and making a video, doing fun stuff. I was hanging out with her brothers, and I really just got really close to them, and I really felt like they were my second family. And it was something I didn't really have because I don't really have any siblings that I see every single day, so I was kind of a part of their family. And then one day they asked me to go to church with them, and I was like, sure, okay, and I was super excited about it because my mom was Christian and my dad didn't really believe in God, so I was so excited about it. So I started going to church, and I met this really cool crowd of people that went to my school, and I felt like I was a part of their family as well, so it was just so much fun. And we did backyard Bible clubs, which is where you go to boot camp and you do training, and then you go to people's backyards to teach them about God, and you play games with them, and you have like a water day, and it was so much fun, and I really loved all of these kids, and they were so nice and so sweet. And like I said, her 2 brothers became some of my closest friends, so I was so happy to be able to have them in my life, and I love them so much. And on our 6 months anniversary, pretty much gave each other the same gift. It was the open when you're blank cards, which when I got back home I opened all of them. I mean, it was pretty much like we had telepathy. And on another time we went to the Six Flags in Dallas, and we rode all the rides together, and it was just so much fun, and I tricked her to get on to the front row a few times. And afterwards we went to In-N-Out, which was so good because In-N-Out is where it's at, and they've got such great burgers. And then another time we went to Barton Springs together, which is ice cold water pretty much in the middle of downtown Austin. And it was so much fun because we knew the water was so cold, so we held hands, and then we, jumped into the water together, and we made this big splash. It was like boom, and so it was so much fun. And then one day my grandpa and I were going to the movies, and she said that she wanted to call me, and so I was okay. I thought she was going to tell me that she missed me or something, and then she said, I'm breaking up with you, and I was so sad and so upset. So I sat in the movie theaters alone watching Elysium with Matt Damon, and I was crying the whole time because I was so upset, and I had pretty much lost this whole other part of my life, her family, her parents, her brothers, and her church too. I was attached to all of it, and so I couldn't do that anymore. So I just felt so alone because I had lost my 2 closest friends, another kid that went to church and her brother, and I knew I couldn't hang out with them anymore, so I was kind of by myself. And then sophomore year came. I remember feeling like I had nobody there for me and that nobody wanted to be friends with me, and I was just kind of like the outcast, like so alone all the time, always listening to music. And my parents were in London, so my 3rd grandma took me out to dinner, and we went to Longhorn Steakhouse, and we had so much food, and it made me feel so much better. So then one day I was getting credits for our broadcast, and there was this kid who I thought was a complete dick, and he was just kind of being cocky and making these jokes that I didn't think were funny, and I was just like, dude, you're a and he was like, wait, what? But that's really funny because when I ended up becoming really good friends, and we make weird jokes together, and it's really fun. And we watch the Hunger Games together, even though I vote for Katniss and he goes for Clove, and together we have actually probably watched over 500 Vines together. So then our school musical came up, which was Hairspray, and I was like, I might as well audition, YOLO. And so I did, and I made it, and I got newscaster, which was really ironic, and I was also a dancer on the Courtney Collins show with Chase, and we had to learn the dance 2 days before the actual show, which was really fun and stressful at the same time, but we had a blast doing it, and he helped me a lot in theater, so thank you, Chase. And then I was like, I really like theater, so I think I'm going to audition for the JV AP show auditions, and so I am, and that's next week. And so I recently got a job at a frozen yogurt place where I sell froyo to people, and whenever I'm checking them out, in my mind I'm just thinking I make them fat, which I don't know if I am or not, that's their choice. But for the most part I'm really happy now, and I'm not really sure where I'm going or what I'm doing, but the good news is I'm only 16. And if you ever feel down or lonely or unloved, just remember all your pain is only temporary, and life goes on. And I know even though I have very few subscribers, YouTube makes me really happy, so thank you for watching.